Today's video is sponsored by Kunai Threads. Whether it's a Blackbeard playmat, a Shanks shirt, or even a Doflamingo pickleball set, they've got you covered. Use code JohnnyTCG and hit the link in my bio to get 5% off your entire order. Thank you, Kunai Threads, for sponsoring this video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. I am Johnny TCG. I am happy to see you here today. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be taking a look at one of the most interesting leaders in the game, in my opinion, and that is Starter Deck 10, Red Purple, Eustace Captain Kid, aka Eustace Captain Mid. Please laugh.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Now, we just did a full deep deck profile in my previous video, which I'll throw up on screen, I'll put in the description, I'll put in the comments. I would highly recommend watching that if you are interested in this leader at all. So today, we're just going to focus on the matches. Today's matches are all focused around Starter Deck 10 Red Purple Luffy. Now, in general, I do think Starter Deck 10 Red Purple Luffy is a better leader into the overall meta than Eustace Captain Kid. But I think it's an interesting matchup, and I think you'll find it interesting as well. These games were really close and really intense. Before we get into the gameplay, of course I have a giveaway for you. If you're new to the channel, in just about every video we do a giveaway. Today's giveaway is going to be a custom Berserk Don card. Do we have any Berserk Chads in the chat? This is much different than my usual custom leader or other One Piece themed giveaways. This is the first time I'm doing something that isn't One Piece themed, but I imagine there's a decent amount of you that like Berserk. So if you like Berserk, if you want to win the custom Don for free, all you have to do is 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment. It is that simple. I did not make the art. This is taken straight from the Berserk manga. I am not the artist. I am not selling this. It is just a fun personal project. So if you want to win, 1, leave a like, and 2, leave a comment, and I'll choose a random commenter and send it to them US based only. Now, if you feel so inclined, you can also subscribe. It means the world, and I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And that's enough yapping for me. Let's roll the gameplay. In our first game against Red Purple Luffy, they are going to choose the turn order. They are going to go first, which means we will be on the even curve. I don't hate that right now because we do have the Mr. Tube on clay. I'm going to keep this hand. I like the idea of going turn 2, Mr. Tube on clay, turn 3, Eustace Captain Kid blocker. They're going to start off with a 6,000 swing with their leader, and we will take that. We get the Punk Rotten trigger, which we won't activate. That lets us set a Don as active. Unfortunately, we do draw another one right then, so I'm like, dang, I should have just used the trigger. Unfortunately, I cannot see that far into the future. I'm debating here whether or not to swing into their leader and use my leader ability. I'm leaning towards not, even though I would like to apply pressure. I don't want to de-ramp Don right now. I'd rather kind of try to beat them in the Don race. So we pass it to them with 5 Don. They'll probably swing 5,000 with Zoro and then play down a 5-cost body. They give 2 Don as Zoro. They're going to swing 6,000 at me. I am going to counter out of this just because I don't want them to put it all on their leader and swing big at me again. Now they're going to play down the Mr. Tube on clay. They want to be like me so bad. And then they'll swing 7,000 at me, and I will take that one. Now I'm actually thinking about playing down the 7-cost Sanji, resting the Mr. Tube on clay. Yes, it would have been nice to establish that 5-cost Eustace Captain Kid blocker, but I do not want to leave that Mr. Tube on clay on the field. I think I might as well get rid of it as soon as possible just because that will become a menace once I start playing some bigger bodies. Now I'm going to swing 7,000 into the Zoro. They consider it for a second and let it die, and I'm feeling a lot better about our position now. Unfortunately, they are at 9, but really 10 Don on this turn, so they could drop a big body. I'm really hoping they do not have one, but with 6 cards in their hand, they likely do. A dragon would probably be the most annoying, as that would give them the best chance of removing my Sanji. They are going to play down the 7-cost Eustace Captain Kid from Starter Deck 10. I really like that card. They'll give themselves plus 1,000 to their leader. 2 Don active. They may throw it all on Sanji and swing into them, or they just might swing into my life. They're going to swing into Sanji, and we are going to protect this Sanji 100%. I actually get rid of the Charlotte Pudding with the 0-cost event. I'm going to keep the Punk Rottens because I'm thinking maybe I will use them to either go for a push late game or clear their board. We draw into our own 8-cost dragon, which I really like. This still might be a Eustace Captain Kid blocker turn though. Just to set up a blocker, one could not hurt. And then I'm thinking with our remaining Don, we just kind of throw down on our characters and try to pressure their life as much as possible. We'll start with 8,000 from Sanji into their life. They give us the 2k counter. Glad to get that out of their hand. Since we have 2 Punk Rottens, I'm going to be a little bit greedy and put the pressure really on my opponent. I'm going to use one. I get Don back using Eustace Captain Kidd blocker ability, and we'll swing 9,000 with Bon Clay into their life, 9,000 into 7,000, they'll take that, and now we're going to swing a big 10,000 with our leader. We are not going to use leader ability just because we do not want to go far back in Don. Ideally, we'll be able to play the Monkey D. Dragon next turn and then still have some Don to work with. They are going to use the Gum Gum Giant to get out of my monster 10,000 power swing for my leader, so we'll just pass it back to them. We're going to play Ben Beckman to trash my Eustace Captain Kidd. Losing my blocker feels real bad, but there are much more threatening cards in their deck than Ben Beckman, so I guess I'll take it. Now they're going to swing 10,000 into my Sanji. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to let it go. I cannot save that Sanji even if I wanted to. And then 7,000 into Mr. 2 Bon Clay with their leader. They clear the board, they set it down as active, and things are not looking great for me. They just definitely turned the tide. We are going to play down the 9-cost secret rare OP09 Luffy that we just top decked. I am very happy to find that. It allowed us to draw a card. Charlotte Pudding's nothing special at this point in the game, but I'll take the extra counter. Now we're going to be able to swing 8,000 into their leader. With our leader, we will use leader ability to go down to 8 Don. Next turn, we still do have that Monkey D. Dragon in our pocket. We do have a Punk Rotten to give our leader plus 5,000 power. We do have a lot of options. They are debating on whether or not to counter out of this one, and they will use the Gum Gum Giant. This is definitely one of the strongest cards from OP09 and has given a much needed boost to starter deck 10 Red Purple Luffy. Unfortunately, Red Purple Kid cannot run that card, so we do not get to take advantage of it. Here I'm debating on whether to swing into their leader or the Eustace Captain Kidd. I decide to swing into their leader. Let's just try to get them down to 0 life so I can swing really big with our leader. My attack onto the Eustace Captain Kidd would have been pretty easily countered, and so that's why I also decided to swing into life. With 9 Don to work with, they will find the Monkey D. Dragon. That is not great for us. Unfortunately, they're going to be able to apply a lot of pressure on us this turn, and we do not have a lot of counter. The question is, will they try to clear my board or will they swing into my life? They are going to try to clear my secret rare Monkey D. Luffy. 11,000 with Eustace Captain Kidd. I think it makes sense to counter out of this. We can get out of any other swings into it, which they don't even have any other swings to go into it. We give them the 2k wire. Glad I had that. Now they'll probably swing into my life with their leader, Ben Beckman and Monkey D. Dragon. They could also give 1 Don to Monkey D. Dragon and swing 10,000 into the Luffy. I think that would be a little bit greedy, and so I would not recommend it. They will swing 7,000 with Ben Beckman into us. We'll take that. We have to take that. Now 7,000 with their leader. I could counter out of this, and I think I will. Usohachi and Charlotte Pudding would probably be my best bet. The reason I do this is because I know I'm not going to be able to counter out of this Monkey D. Dragon swing. We do get the Eustace Captain Kidd through drop out of life. That is not helpful at all. I'm thinking here is where we make a little bit of a final push. They do have 1 Don up. I don't think I'll be able to clear their board. Maybe now's the time to strike. First, we're going to start off with a 10,000 swing with Secret Rare Monkey D. Luffy into their leader. Hopefully this 1 Don is a fake Gum Gum Giant and they don't actually have it. And that might actually be the case. They give me 4 1k counters, which is absolutely crazy. I wonder what their hand looks like right now because that is pretty rough. Now we're going to throw down the dragon. We really have to hope that they don't have this Gum Gum Giant because if they do, they probably win. They just have to survive one of these 2 attacks. We're going to do 11,000 into 7,000. They take. That tells me that they probably do not have the Gum Gum Giant. We're going to use Punk Rotten and swing for 12,000. It's the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have it? And we do. They did not have the counter. That was a really close one, though. If they did have Gum Gum Giant, I think they would have won that one. Let's do a rematch. We've got to get to the bottom on which starter deck 10 leader is best. Of course, this doesn't apply to every single matchup, but it is fun to have a little bit of a themed matchup today. We are going to mulligan this first hand. Nothing to do in my early turns, which I really didn't like. Turn 1, we actually have the When You See You Fight Pirates Searcher, and I'm thinking that we take the 2k counter here. It was between the Wire and a Eustace Captain Kidd blocker. We already have one, and I think I'd rather have the 2k in hand. Now, with 3 down to work with, Charlotte Pudding's going to be our best bet. We're going to throw that down, swing with leader ability. That gets us to 6,000. And then with Charlotte Pudding's ability, we get to ramp that Don back as rested. Next turn, we might throw down the 5-cost Eustace Captain Kidd. We might throw down a Mr. Tube on Clay. We'll see what happens. For 4, they're going to play down their own Mr. Tube on Clay and swing 7,000 at us. I am just going to take this, and we do get the 7-cost Sanji. Now I'm leaning towards playing a Mr. Tube on Clay on this turn, just so they cannot copy my 5-cost Kidd's power level. We're going to play down one Mr. Tube on Clay and probably swing for 6,000. I could also play down the 2-cost Sanji from OP09. I don't think that would be a crazy idea either. We're going to swing for 6,000 using leader ability, bringing that Don back as rested with Pudding. They'll give us 1,000 counter with Sangoro from their hand, and then we will play down the 2-cost Sanji. I'm thinking worst case scenario, he's just another body to swing into Mr. Tube on Clay with instead of my leader. We'll see what happens though. He could get a 7,000 swing onto life, which would be very helpful. With 7 Don up, they are going to play down the 7-drop Eustace Captain Kidd. I really don't like that card on 7 Don just because you are delaying your ramping another turn. They're going to swing 7,000 at me, and I'm leaning towards taking this, and we do get the Monkey D. Dragon. I think that is a very good card to get right about now. We might do what we did last game and play down the 7-cost Sanji and rest their Mr. Tube on Clay, and then just swing into that, getting rid of it before it can really get any value on a swing. Our Mr. Tube on Clay will get a ton of value because we are going to be able to copy their 8-cost or 7-cost Eustace Captain Kidd's power level. We will swing with a 4,000 Charlotte Pudding swing into the Mr. Tube on Clay. They let that one go through. Now we are going to use Sanji's ability. It's a little bit risky when you're playing against Red Purple Luffy, who can play down some big bodies really quickly and put a lot of pressure on. But we're going to take our own life, swing 7,000 into their leader. They've only got 4 cards in hand, and they will take that life. Now we're going to swing. We almost swung with Mr. Tube on Clay first, but that would not have been 100% correct. In terms of sequencing, we're going to swing with the lower swing, which is Sanji, our 7-cost, and they will counter out of that with a 2K. Countering out of a 2K in that situation is not ideal. Now we're going to do 8,000 with Mr. Tube on Clay, and they'll give us another 2K. We are getting 2Ks out of their hand for days. Now we're just going to swing big with our leader, give our leader 1 Don, and swing for 8,000 into them. If they take this, we are going to be in a great spot, and that basically tells me that they have no counter in their hand. They're only going to be at 8 Don this turn because they used Eustace Captain Kidd's ability. They will use their leader ability. Now they're at 9 Don, 5 cards in hand. I am really not too worried. I don't know if there's anything they can play that would really hurt me. The 9-drop Whitebeard is a very strong card in this situation. It's going to power up their leader to plus 2,000 on top of that plus 1,000 from Eustace Captain Kidd. Now they are at 9,000. 9,000 during their turn is going to be really strong. Maybe I spoke too soon. They are going to swing into the Mr. Tube on Clay with their Eustace Captain Kidd, and I've got to let that go. Now they are probably considering who to swing into now, either my 7-cost Sanji or my leader. They are going to surprise me and swing into the 2-cost Sanji. That's only 3,000 power. I do not think that I would think that Sanji is a viable threat next turn, and so I don't think if I was in their position, I would have swung into that Sanji. I think they're better off swinging into my 7-cost Sanji or into my life, but their trash is my treasure. I don't think that saying works in this situation. Their mistake is my pleasure. I don't think that's even a real saying. Can you tell it's late at night, folks? 9 down for us to work with. Them being at 9,000 power really makes things awkward. The dragon would normally be a great play here, but maybe just setting up the Eustace Captain Kidd and maybe another body like Mr. Tube on Clay is a better idea. Of course, they can get rid of the Mr. Tube on Clay with their Edward Newgate ability, but if they do that, they will have to sacrifice Don for that. I decide to go with the Punk Rotten and just really try to clear their Eustace Captain Kidd this turn. Maybe I'm better off just swinging into life, but if I don't get rid of this Eustace Captain Kidd, then if they play a Gear 5 Luffy next turn and skip my turn, things might get a little bit awkward. 13,000 into 8,000. Do they have it? They do not. Now I've got 2 done up. I'm just going to throw it on my Sanji 7-cost and swing 9,000 into them. They will hopefully counter it. If they do not counter it, then they are kind of screwed. They will give us the 1K. 3 cards in hand. They will be at 10 down. What can they pull out of their sleeve? We are in a pretty good spot, I'd say. We do have 2 2Ks, which isn't a lot, but it's better than none. I would love to keep this Sanji alive this turn, but if I have to let it go, so be it. They're going to start their turn with a Ben Beckman, trashing my Eustace Captain Kid blocker. And now they'll swing 12,000 into my Sanji. If I can get out of this, I think I should. Unfortunately, I will not be able to. I do not have the counter to get out of it, so I've got to let the Sanji go. And then they'll just swing 6,000 with their leader, which I'll give them the 2k for. Keep our life a little bit healthy. We draw a Monkey D. Dragon. That is great news. We are going to play one of them down. We have another in case we need it. I'm debating here whether or not to use my Punk Rotten or if I should give more down to Monkey D. Dragon. I decide to swing 9,000 into their leader. If they have the Gum Gum Giant, they do get out of this, which they do, unfortunately. They do have to trash a Monkey D. Dragon, which is good news. Now I'm going to do something a little bit ballsy. I'm going to play down the Punk Rotten, give plus 5,000 to my leader. I think I do actually need to clear this Whitebeard, because if I don't, and that Whitebeard stays alive, if they have a Gear 5 Luffy, I think I might lose next turn, or at least there's a pretty decent chance I would. We are going to swing 14,000 into the Whitebeard with 3 cards in hand. I gotta say the odds are low. They have the counter and they do not. This is a great position for us to be in right now, or at least a better position than if a Whitebeard survived. They are going to have to play a big body if they want to deal with my Monkey D. Dragon. They will have to sacrifice Don if they want to deal with my Monkey D. Dragon. They're going to start out their turn with a 4-cost Onami blocker. That lets them do a little bit of a card cycle. They're going to trash a Ben Beckman from their hand and draw 2 cards. Now they're going to swing 6,000 at me. I think I should take this just because if they give Don to Ben Beckman and swing into my Monkey D. Dragon, I want to have counter to protect it. Now they're going to swing 7,000 into my life. I do have the counter for it, so I will give them the Wire and the Mr. Tube on Clay. For 6 Don, we will likely see another blocker, and they do have that 6-cost Sanji. Now I'm wondering what I should do exactly. I do have the Usohachi 3-cost, which will allow me to rest their Onami blocker. I do have the Killer, which lets me restand my leader. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, folks? I'm going to be a little bit greedy here, and I don't know if this is the right move. Frankly, I think it's not. I'm going to swing 10,000 with my Monkey D. Dragon, and they'll block with Onami. That was smart of them. I should have used my Usohachi first, I believe. I think I should have played down that Usohachi and rested their Onami, then swung with Monkey D. Dragon. So that's a little bit of a misplay on my part. Frankly, this whole last turn is weird. I'm going to give 3 Don to Charlotte Pudding and then swing. I'm actually going to give 4 Don to her and swing 8,000 into their life. I'm hoping that they take this or that they block with the Sanji. I did not really expect them to have the counter for this in their hand, but as you will see, they do. They give me a 2k and a 1k. Now I'm in a situation where I need to get this Ben Beckman off the board. Or go for game, which I can't go for game now because I played it a little bit carelessly. We are going to swing into leader, hoping that they block with the Sanji. This whole turn has kind of been a little bit of a mess. I definitely should have dropped the Usohachi and rested their Onami blocker. That was my fatal flaw. I'm going to swing 9,000 into their leader, which they will just block out with Sanji, and unfortunately it's just a numbers game. I've got 2k of counter in my hand. They'll start off with the Ben Beckman, 8,000 into my life. Hypothetically, I could have countered out of that if I had the counter. Well, that was such a dumb sentence. But if I did counter out of that, I'd still be in this game, is what I thought. Unfortunately, they did have a dragon in their hand as well, so even if I could have countered out of the Ben Beckman hit, I was doomed. I would have loved to do another rematch with this person because those were great games, but unfortunately, I guess they had to go. It is what it is, though. GG's. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the games I got for you today. What did you think about them? I really did fumble that last turn. I don't know if it was a guaranteed victory, but I certainly did not play that well. Let me know in the comments what you thought about today's games. Let me know if you have any requests for other leaders to play. We're going into 2025, and I am all ears and open to suggestions from the audience. That's all I got for today. Definitely leave a like, leave a comment if you want to win the custom Berserk Don. If you feel so inclined, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. This has been a Johnny TCG video. Peace.